What's up, Dog Nation? This is Josh with the Governors Bulldogs coming to you on Saturday. Talk a little bit about the Sugar Bowl, the Ole Miss Georgia game, and where Georgia goes from here. I'm just like all the rest of you guys, man. I'm down and accepting defeat and putting away some of the Georgia decorations until next fall and accepting that the season's over. It's come to an end and kind of thinking about where Georgia's going to go from here. The first thing, getting into the Sugar Bowl, the first thing that I want to say and that sticks out to me the most is that Ole Miss was just better, man. And I don't mean that in any other way than just that. They outplayed us. Ole Miss made plays when they needed to make plays. So, sincerely, congratulations to Ole Miss, to Pete Golding, to the Ole Miss fans. I mean, you guys got to think this is the biggest win in Ole Miss history of my lifetime, and I was born in 1992. This is a huge deal for them. Never won a college football playoff game before the Tulane game. They just took down 12-1 SEC champions in Georgia, beat a good Georgia team, and they outplayed us. They outcoached us. I really like Pete Golding. I think he said all the right things in his time of being announced the Ole Miss coach and through the two games that he has coached. He's been able to keep his team together through a lot of challenging times that could have led to major distractions. He's got coaches leaving and going to Baton Rouge and then coming back. Georgia's coaches had a month to prepare for this game. And Pete Golding and the Ole Miss staff finds a way to outcoach the Georgia coaches, had his team more prepared to play. I'm not going to give him credit for accumulating the talent on this team. That was Lane Kiffin. But one thing that was glaringly obvious to me from early on in the game, Ole Miss has more playmakers than us. Ole Miss made plays in critical moments. Trinidad Chambliss was by far and away the best player on the field for both teams last night. The second best player was Wallace, number 2, Ole Miss's wide receiver. The third best player was number 1, Ole Miss's wide receiver. The fourth best player was Keon Lacey, Ole Miss running back. They're good, man. Like, they are an extremely talented, well-coached, fast, physical, athletic football team. And those boys went out there and made plays and took that game from us. Yeah, Georgia made some mistakes, but nobody on Georgia's team stepped up to make a play and said, this drive stops right now, and I'm the one to stop it. This offense is scoring on this drive, and I'm the one that's going to do it. Zach Branch could only do so much last night. So hats off to Ole Miss. They beat us, man. They led for 3.5 quarters of the first matchup. They got behind 9 at halftime, but they didn't look bad in the first half. It was that scoop and score that blew that game kind of open and gave Georgia that lead, that 12-point lead, 11-point lead, whatever it was at halftime. And then Ole Miss came out in the second half and made plays. They scored 20 points in the fourth quarter. 20 points. I'm drinking a little bit of coffee. I'm trying to knock off the chill of that defeat. That live stream was off the chain, man. I tried to warn you guys going into that when people asked me in the comment sections for a live stream. I said, I don't think that's a good idea. I just know myself. I get too crazy. And, man, to be honest with y'all, I don't like myself doing stuff like that. I don't like that I act like that for football games. And every season I say I'm going to stop doing that. I'm going to stop yelling at the TV. I'm going to stop cussing so much. I'm not going to get so mad during the games. I'm going to enjoy the games. And then the next season rolls around. And, dude, I cannot help. I don't know why I'm like that. But that's just who I am. I mean, I love football so much. I love UGA football so much. I'm a college football fan. I love college football. I don't really care about the NFL. I'll watch it if there's nothing else to watch or if I've got time. My Sundays go a lot more towards getting stuff done around the house, getting groceries, making YouTube videos. I'll rewatch the Georgia game before I put on an NFL game. But if I get time, I'll watch NFL. But man, I look forward to UGA football year round. Like from right now till August 31st is a long time. And there's not a lot of stuff in my life to sit there and look forward to between now and then at all. A whole lot of work to be done. But not a lot of enjoyment. I get my enjoyment in Saturdays in the fall, watching this team, following this team, covering this team. I will say this about Georgia this year, personally, for me, this 2025 team was a blast, a pleasure to watch, a pleasure to cover. If you would have told me when we were down in the first half against Tennessee that we were going to go 12-2 and win the SEC but lose the Sugar Bowl to Ole Miss in the first round of the playoffs, I'd have took that deal right then because I would not have expected that. If you would have told me in the first half against Auburn that we were going to win the SEC and beat Alabama and Atlanta for the first time ever in program history, I'd have took that deal. I would have took that deal for sure. So hats off to Ole Miss. 2025 was a pleasure to cover. Much better season, I thought. Much more enjoyable Georgia team to watch, to cover than the previous year. 2024 was not fun for me at all. I didn't like the 2024 team. I'm just being honest. The drops and our offense was unbearable to watch. And we just lacked that swagger of a Georgia team in 2024. This year, much better. The growth of the team, the offense, although we're going to get into the offense here in a second in the Ole Miss game, but the offense was better. The receivers caught the ball. The O-line was able to block better. Georgia's run game comes back to life. Nate Frazier showed improvements. Chauncey Bowens showed pops here and there. Gunnar Stockton, a massive upgrade over Carson Beck. The team played harder. It seemed like they were having fun out there, enjoyed playing with each other. Kirby coached them harder. Kirby was able to be more honest, didn't have to baby these guys this season. Much better season for me as a Georgia fan as far as enjoyment of watching and covering this season. Let's get into this game. I've already given credit to Ole Miss. I think Ole Miss was better. I think Ole Miss might have been better all season long. There's no doubt in my mind that they are the better team. We talked about on this channel since this time last year that this Georgia team was going to go as far as the O-line carries us. And the O-line let us down. January 1st, the O-line let us down. I thought Georgia was going to be able to run the ball at will, wear down Ole Miss's defensive line, and really be running the ball for 8 to 17 yards a clip come the second half. And we were running the ball for chunks at times. But there was a certain point in time in that game where Ole Miss's D-line started just terrorizing our O-line. And they were in the backfield forcing negative plays the entire game. And tackling our guys behind the line of scrimmage, sacking Gunnar Stockton. The O-line did not play well. We did not play our best. Let's just stay on the offense. I thought the turning point in this game where things went south for Georgia and Ole Miss took control of the game, when Georgia took the lead and was up what was it, 21 to 12 or something like that. Georgia stopped Ole Miss and got the ball back with 1:51 seconds left and 3 timeouts at our own 35-yard line. Gunnar Stockton took a sack on the first play, a bad sack too. Then it was 2nd and 12. Kirby said, that's it. Take the air out of the ball. Let's go into half. We get the ball in the second half. Dude, I'm screaming at the TV. We got to stay aggressive. We've got to go down and get a field goal or a touchdown right here. And then score again out of half and this game's over. But we got to stay aggressive right here. We run a draw or something like that on 2nd down. Or hold on. After the sack, we don't call timeout. We let the whole 45-second game clock run down. So now we're at under a minute or right at a minute. Then we run a draw. And then I think we threw the ball for an incompletion. I'm not sure what we did on 3rd down. But we got ultra conservative in that drive with 3 timeouts. Didn't even attempt to move the ball downfield. It was like after Gunnar took that sack, that was it. Kirby said, nope, take it into half. That was a massive, critical mistake. That mentality has always driven me absolutely insane with Kirby Smart. The being conservative going into half. We have got to get some wide receivers that can threaten deep down the field and that can get open and create separation and beat man coverage and get open in zone coverage. We have to. This has went on for way too long. The Georgia wide receivers not being able to separate in big games. It's so bad that it is to the point that we are in a playoff game and we are afraid to throw the ball downfield. We don't have guys that can get open, and we don't have a quarterback that'll throw the ball over the middle of the field when they do get open. That's the one criticism I've had of Gunnar Stockton all season long. There will be guys open downfield, and he will not throw the ball. He refuses to throw the ball downfield. That's got to get fixed by next year. We have got to start bringing in wide receivers that can get open and that can make plays and that can make contested catches and that can beat guys. The wide receiver issue at Georgia has been ignored for long enough. This has got to stop. This game against Ole Miss, the difference between their wide receivers and our wide receivers is so glaringly obvious. Ole Miss hasn't recruited at a 10th of the level that Georgia has. Georgia's football budget is $20 million more a year than Ole Miss. There's no excuse. If you want to compete and you want to win national championships, you've got to start getting some 1,000-yard wide receivers and guys that can make plays. And you got to get a quarterback that's going to let the ball rip and throw it to him. I'm just telling y'all what I've been watching from out of Georgia football going all the way back to as far as I can remember. The 2011 season on, I've watched every single Georgia game. Every single one. And the amount of times that we get matched up against equal or better than competition and the other team has better wide receivers is insanity. We've got to get better players on the offensive side of the ball. And that goes for running back too. Nate Frazier has improved a lot as a freshman. He ain't no Todd Gurley. He ain't no Sony Michel. He ain't no Nick Chubb. He ain't no James Cook. He ain't no Zamir White. Ain't no DeAndre Swift. He ain't none of them guys. We need playmakers on this offense, man. Our tight ends this year have been serviceable, but they ain't no Brock Bowers. They ain't no Darnell Washington. And I think we got some good young tight ends. The young wide receivers that everybody's talking about right now, that Georgia's got a good group of a good core group of freshman wide receivers. How many times have we seen freshmen come in at the wide receiver position and be able to dominate college football from the jump? Plenty. So they can't be that damn good, or they'd be out there playing, making plays. We need a massive upgrade at receiver if we want to win playoff games and a national championship again. Going back to this game, we go into halftime. During the live stream, during the halftime, I said we have to score a touchdown out of this drive and put this game out of reach. Force Ole Miss into obvious passing downs every single down. We didn't do anything for 3 drives. And Ole Miss started coming back. Ole Miss got the momentum. It took a fake punt for Georgia to stay on the field to go down and get a field goal to be able to grasp any of it back. Trinidad Chambliss made play after play after play in the second half, and our pass rush and our linebackers inside and outside could not get this guy on the ground if their life depended on it. On the defensive side of the ball, man, we need playmakers. We need Roquan Smiths. We need Nakobe Deans. We need Nolan Smiths. We need Jarvis Jones. Who were our playmakers last night? Tell me that. Who could we count on to extend drives on offense? Branch. Zach Branch. Where was Dylan Bell last night? Colby Young, I give a pass. He came back from a broken leg. A snapped bone in his leg. He fought to come back. So I'm not going to get on Colby Young at all. Salute to him for coming back to play in this game, for playing as well as he did, for everything he's given to Georgia. I don't have a bad word to say about him. But who are our playmakers on offense besides Branch? We don't have any. Where were the tight ends? You can say Gunnar Stockton. Gunnar Stockton will not let the ball go down the middle of the field. On defense, it was proven repeatedly throughout the course of the season, we don't have a pass rusher that can get guys on the ground. And that was glaringly obvious in last night's game. We are not as athletic at linebacker anywhere, outside or inside, as we were in championship years. Chris Cole did not pan out this season like everyone thought he would. I'm sorry. He just didn't. The results were not there. The Gabe Harris injury hurt. We just got outplayed, man. We got outplayed. I'm trying to think of what I want to hit on next. The coaching. We got our asses out-coached. Out-prepared. By an Ole Miss staff that was preparing for this game for a quarter of the amount of time that we were. We had 28 days. Might not have been 28. 25, 26 days to prepare for this game. Ole Miss's guys had a week. And we got out-coached. How does that happen? For the second straight year in the Sugar Bowl after a month to prepare, we get out-coached, out-prepared, out-executed. Kirby Smart and staff have got to look at that. You got to look at that. You got to look at that in the mirror. You got outcoached in back-to-back Sugar Bowls with a month to prepare. That's a problem. Whatever y'all did this year and last year that you said it wasn't our preparation, we just ran across a good team, fix that shit. Because now you got two examples of getting outcoached, out-prepared, out-executed. Ole Miss's coaching staff had those guys ready to go. That Georgia team that I watched play on Thursday night was not the Georgia team I watched play against Alabama. We were not as crisp. The tackling was not as good. The O-line was a shit show and couldn't block for shit. Gunnar Stockton's confidence was not where it needed to be. Our receivers couldn't get open. Dylan Bell was on a milk carton. Our edge rush, pass rush, D-line couldn't get the quarterback on the ground. Busts, coverage busts to end the game. Can't cover, can't tackle. Woodring missing a field goal for the second time this season. A combination of things. I was watching a Kirby Smart coaches clinic not long ago, less than 3 weeks ago, and he was talking about how he had to adapt after the Ohio State Sugar Bowl that he lost to Alabama, where Ohio State beat Bama, went on to win the college football playoff. But Bama was heavily favored against Cardell Jones and Ohio State. Ohio State ended up winning that game. And Kirby said that was the game that made him realize he had to adapt as a coach or college football was going to leave him behind. Georgia's in a position right now where despite going 12-2 and being SEC champions, you're in a position right now where you got to start adapting quickly or college football is going to leave you behind. The teams that had a bye in the college football playoff the last 2 years are now 1-7. 0-4 was too much of a coincidence for me. 1-7 tells me everything I need to know about the bye week. It's a problem. The bye week is a problem. A 1-7 success rate, that's not an advantage. And the coaches in the bye week, you've got to figure something out with that. On to another point. Kirby Smart has to take a long look in the mirror and decide how he's going to bring in top-tier talent to Georgia. Because high school recruiting is about to be dead. High school recruiting is dying. All four of these teams left in the college football playoff are portal-heavy teams. Miami, portal-heavy. Ole Miss, goes without saying, a team full of mercenaries. Indiana, all out the portal. Indiana's youngest starter is on defense. He's been playing 2 years of college football. Every other starter for them has 3 or more years experience. Half of them have got 5 and 6 years experience in college football. Oregon, heavy portal team. Probably the biggest high school recruiting team yet still in the playoff is Oregon. They're still heavy in the portal. The amount of time and effort put into high school recruiting is no longer worth it. The money, the budget, just for these kids to flip you the middle finger at the very last second and take a bag from Texas. Justice Terry, a perfect example. A kid that the Georgia staff has been on since 8th grade, offered a scholarship in the 8th grade. Heavily recruited and more official visits than any other recruit in Georgia football history. Damn near lived at Georgia on the weekends. The suit that he wore to announce what school he was going to was black with red pinstripes. Gives Georgia the middle finger and goes to Texas on the last day. How many millions of dollars went into his recruitment? How many man hours went into his recruitment? How many plane trips, helicopter rides went into that recruitment? That money can be going to portal money. This high school recruiting is no longer worth the time or the effort. When you can get developed, physically, mentally, mature, developed kids out of the portal to come in and play for you right then, that already have a market value, that have already proven their reliability, their durability, their playmaking ability. The high school recruiting thing is coming to an end. I cannot cover high school recruiting on this channel, and it's not because I don't love high school football. I do. I go to Georgia high school football games at places that I didn't even go to school. I went to Harrison and Altoona. I went to the Rome versus, who the hell was it? Rome Creekside game this year just to watch. I'd like to go to a Buford game. I love high school football. But this portal, transfer portal, NIL has destroyed college football and high school recruiting to where these kids can just enter the portal twice a year as free agents. There could be kids that sign with Georgia that never even play a single down for Georgia. I'm not going to invest my time, effort, and energy into kids that might never play for Georgia. I'm not going to do it. The last recruit that I covered and followed was Aubrey Solomon. I think that was all the way back in 2016, 2014. Flipped to Michigan on the last day. I'm not going to emotionally, mentally, and invest my time into these high school kids to have them play with our emotions. I'm not going to do it. You come to Georgia and you start making plays for the Dogs, or you're working your ass off in practice and you're developing, and I hear good things about you, you got my 100% support, love and support. Until that point in time, there's no guarantee for me that you're going to do anything for Georgia. And I get it. Everyone's trying to get paid. It's a money business. I get it. But I love my team and my school, and I'm going to cheer for the guys that make plays for my team and my school. And until you're doing that, I'm not investing any time. I'm not going to do it. But Georgia's got to reevaluate and regroup and think long and hard about the time, money, effort, man hours, and the time away from being able to do something else that they're putting into high school football recruiting. Georgia and Bama have been in the top 5. Could say top 3. I'm trying to be conservative. Georgia and Alabama have been in the top 5 of high school football recruiting going all the way back to the 2017 season. And Bama just got blown out by 35 points to a team that doesn't have a single 5-star on the team. The portal thing, the high school recruiting thing, the bye week is now no longer in the stage of being my opinion. These are facts. The teams with the bye in the playoff are now 1-7. That's a disadvantage. Having a bye week is a disadvantage. You more than likely are going to lose. You got a 1-7 chance of winning. And there have been some damn good football teams go down that have had byes. Conference champions. Undefeated teams. So we're past the realm of coincidence. Every team remaining in this college football playoff is a portal team. That's facts. There's no high school recruiting football teams left in this playoff. The evidence is there. So Georgia's going to have to adapt or get left behind. This is going to get worse, not better. I went off on a tangent there, but the last thing I want to say about this Georgia-Ole Miss game is, like we said on this channel all year, this season depends on the O-line. The coaching staff said, this season we are going to pride ourselves on being able to run the football and stop the run. The part of the game for me that let me know Ole Miss was better and deserved to win this game and beat us, it wasn't a fluke, was when Georgia was first and goal from the 6 and then second and goal from the 3-yard line with a minute remaining. A touchdown wins the game. And we can't run the football in against their D-line with our massive O-line. When we've talked about for 16 straight months on priding ourselves on being able to run the football inside the red zone, and you can't run it in to win the Sugar Bowl against an Ole Miss team where the advantages of this game are supposed to be our O-line against their defensive line late in the second half. A minute to go in the game from the 3. And you can't run the football in. You try it once, you get stuffed. Then you go away from it. Ole Miss makes a play. You settle for a field goal. And Ole Miss's wide receivers beat your corners because they're better. They were better last night. They are better athletes. They made plays in critical moments of the game. Ole Miss beat us. They coached better. They wanted it just as much. And their players made plays when they were called upon. Ours did not. They had the better players. Trinidad Chambliss was the best player on the field in that Sugar Bowl, and it wasn't close. So that's my thoughts on it, guys. Disappointed, of course, but Ole Miss was just the better team. And it's a sad way for the season to end, but I can be okay with it and accept it knowing that we got beat by a better team. They beat us, and I'm happy for Ole Miss. I'm sad that we lost, but I'm happy for Ole Miss, for Pete Golding, for their fans. I genuinely, man, that's an awesome college football story, man. And I wish Ole Miss and their fans luck the rest of the way. I sincerely do. Georgia's got a lot they can build on going into next season. We'll talk about that in another video. I am going to go live tomorrow night. If anybody wants to come talk about the way this season ended or the season as a whole, I'll go live and we'll talk about it. But I just wanted to give you guys some thoughts on where we're at right now. Obviously still hurting from that loss, but it's all good, man. Georgia had a hell of a season. They outperformed my expectations. And we just got to keep getting better. And we got some adaptations we got to do. We got to regroup. We got to keep striving. We got a good core group of guys. Loved watching this year's team play. The seniors and the guys moving on to the draft, love them. Loved watching them play. Loved Kristen Miller. God. He's the last generation of Georgia high school football recruiting. True high school recruit. No NIL bullshit. Came here because he loved Georgia. Gave everything he had and played his ass off for Georgia. Never going to see that again. Ever. So, we can talk about this more in the live. Just wanted to give you guys some of my thoughts on the game. I'm going to go watch the Seahawks 49ers game. We're down to just NFL football now. And then once that wraps up, we ain't got nothing to look forward to but some golf. I love you guys. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being with me all season long on the channel. Let me know what you think about Georgia. Everything I said in this video. I'll see you guys tomorrow night for the live. Appreciate y'all. Go Dogs.